This story just took a turn nobody was ready for. Micky McCoy's wife has stepped forward with explosive claims, accusing Erika Kirk and TPUSA's own chief of staff of being directly involved in what happened behind the scenes. Private messages, late-night meetings, and conversations Charlie never knew about, all suddenly exposed. And if what she's leaking is true, this doesn't just shake TPUSA, it flips the entire narrative upside down. Ready? Because this is about to get dark. Part 1 opens with shockwaves ripping through the online world. Micky McCoy's wife, previously silent on the drama surrounding Erika Kirk, released messages and videos that immediately went viral. The clips allegedly show Erika coordinating with someone high up in TPUSA, the chief of staff, discussing strategies to control outcomes and manipulate information surrounding Charlie Kirk. What's particularly damning is the timing. These conversations reportedly took place just weeks before Charlie's final days. At the exact same period, Erika publicly claimed she had no involvement in any decisions or disputes. People are stunned. For months, Erika was able to maintain the image of a grieving widow. Public sympathies leaned heavily in her favor. But now with these new leaks, that image is in tatters. The messages suggest deliberate planning and communication behind the scenes, contradicting everything Erika publicly stated. It isn't just about miscommunication or misunderstanding anymore. These are strategic moves that show intention. Sources close to Micky McCoy's wife say she was hesitant to speak out, fearing retaliation or a smear campaign. But after seeing the continued silence and the ongoing narrative Erika maintained, she decided the truth had to come out. In her statement, she emphasized that she had access to proof no one else could reach, proof showing Erika and the TPUSA chief of staff had coordinated actions meant to mislead the public, manipulate political outcomes, and possibly suppress critical information about Charlie's final days. Social media erupted instantly. Clips of Micky McCoy's wife explaining her evidence were shared millions of times. Forums dissected every word, every timestamp, every screenshot. Questions flew in every direction. How deep did this coordination go? Was TPUSA aware? Was this manipulation purely political, or did it cross into criminal territory? Meanwhile, Erika remained silent. Her team did not respond to repeated inquiries. Her public accounts posted nothing. The void of response only made suspicions stronger, and the speculation grew faster than ever. People started piecing together patterns, referencing prior contradictions in Erika's public statements and previous appearances that now looked rehearsed in hindsight. Even Joe Rogan's prior evidence, the leaks he revealed weeks ago, suddenly fit into a bigger picture. Observers began connecting his files with the new messages from Micky McCoy's wife. Patterns emerged: Erika's strategic communications, the timing of media appearances, her alleged coordination with TPUSA. It all began to suggest a level of orchestration that was previously unimaginable. By the end of the day, the narrative shifted. Erika Kirk was no longer just a grieving widow in the public eye. She was potentially a central figure in a coordinated operation with political reach and influence. And the implications were massive. Part 2 escalates. Attention as the ramifications of Micky McCoy's wife's revelations begin to unfold. Overnight, media outlets picked up the story. And what started as a social media leak transformed into a full-blown controversy. Analysts began poring over the screenshots, messages, and videos she shared, connecting them with previously known inconsistencies in Erika Kirk's statements. Every detail, no matter how small, seemed to point toward deliberate coordination. One particularly damning message allegedly shows Erika discussing a plan to manage Charlie's image with the TPUSA chief of staff, referencing timing in narratives that only someone deeply involved would know. Observers noted that the level of detail in the exchanges suggested long-term planning, not improvised reactions. It raised questions. Were Erika and TPUSA manipulating public perception? Were they actively suppressing certain truths about Charlie's final days? Meanwhile, the public's reaction intensified. Fans of Charlie and political commentators alike began demanding accountability. Online communities dissected each leaked clip, cross-referencing timestamps, locations, and other publicly available information. A pattern emerged, suggesting Erika was not just reacting to events, she was orchestrating them. Every public appearance, every statement, every tearful interview now seemed potentially rehearsed or strategically timed. Inside sources revealed that the TPUSA chief of staff had been unusually quiet, avoiding public statements or explanations. This silence fueled speculation that the coordination with Erika might extend beyond messaging into strategic political moves, perhaps even attempts to influence reporting or narrative surrounding Charlie's personal and professional life. At the same time, Joe Rogan's prior evidence gained renewed attention. Analysts noticed overlaps between his released files and the new leaks. Some messages in Rogan's evidence corresponded almost exactly to the timelines and tactics revealed in the McCoy's disclosures. Observers began theorizing that Erika's coordination with the chief of staff was part of a larger effort to control perception, possibly shielding her from scrutiny or public accountability. Charlie's parents, already vocal, intensified their statements, calling Erika's alleged collaboration manipulative and deliberate. They urged investigators to consider the new evidence seriously, suggesting it could reshape ongoing inquiries. Meanwhile, Erika's public silence only deepened suspicion. Her social media remained inactive, and her representatives refused to comment, giving the impression that she was retreating strategically rather than emotionally by the end of the day. The narrative had changed completely. Erika Kirk was no longer just the widow of a prominent figure under scrutiny. She was potentially a central figure in a coordinated operation with significant political implications. And the public was now demanding answers. Part 3 begins with the fallout reaching its peak. The story of Erika Kirk's alleged coordination with the TPUSA chief of staff had gone viral, dominating headlines and social media threads alike. Analysts, commentators, and political insiders were dissecting every clip, every screenshot, every message Micky McCoy's wife had leaked. What was most shocking wasn't just the content, it was the level of orchestration that the evidence suggested. Erika wasn't acting alone. She was part of a system, a coordinated effort with access to political influence and media strategy, designed to control the narrative around Charlie's life and death. Sources close to the situation revealed more chilling details. Allegedly, Erika and the chief of staff had been communicating secretly for months, creating schedules for public appearances, timing interviews, and even scripting responses to potential media questions. Messages suggested that they were anticipating scrutiny and had a contingency plan in place in case Joe Rogan or others released evidence. This was not improvised, it was deliberate and methodical. Public reaction reached a fever pitch. Fans, journalists, and political commentators questioned how deeply the coordination went. Were they merely managing public perception, or were there actions that crossed legal boundaries? Speculation ran wild, with some suggesting attempts to suppress information, manipulate key witnesses, or control digital records. The public wasn't just angry, they were demanding investigations. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's previous disclosures now seemed even more prescient. Observers noted overlaps between his evidence and the newly leaked messages. Analysts pointed out how timing, content, and strategy in Erika's communications mirrored the discrepancies he had highlighted, confirming patterns that hinted at deliberate obfuscation. Every public tear, every solemn statement, every interview suddenly looked like part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Charlie's parents grew increasingly vocal. They emphasized that Erika's coordination with TPUSA officials demonstrated premeditated control, not accidental oversight. They urged investigators to consider the full scope of her actions, claiming this went far beyond personal grieving and into manipulation of events and information for her own advantage. Erika remained silent. Her social media accounts stayed dark, and her representatives offered no statements. The combination of her absence and the explosive leaks created an atmosphere of suspicion and outrage. Observers began to speculate that she was not merely hiding but strategically retreating to avoid immediate accountability, possibly preparing for legal, political, or personal defenses once the full scope of the evidence became public. By the end of the week, new footage allegedly surfaced showing Erika meeting someone outside a secure location. The same person suspected to have assisted her disappearance in previous reports. Every revelation reinforced the growing narrative. Erika Kirk and her collaborators were deeply involved in orchestrating events behind the scenes, controlling what the world saw and attempting to shield themselves from scrutiny. The public's demand for accountability reached unprecedented levels. Investigators reportedly accelerated inquiries. Legal analysts speculated on potential charges, and media outlets prepared follow-up reports to reveal the depth of Erika's involvement. The combination of her disappearance, prior evidence from Joe Rogan, and these new leaks left the world grappling with a single question: how much of Erika Kirk's public persona had been real, and how much had been carefully manufactured? Story remains active, the investigation ongoing, and the truth continues to unravel. One thing is clear: Erika Kirk's actions, combined with the TPUSA Chief of Staff's involvement, have exposed a network of coordination and influence that could have far-reaching consequences. And the public is watching every move. If you've followed this story from the beginning, you know this is far from over. The leaks, the messages, the evidence from Micky McCoy's wife, and the connections to TPUSA have only scratched the surface of what's really happening behind the scenes. Erika Kirk's disappearance, combined with everything Joe Rogan and insiders have revealed, makes one thing clear: there's a much bigger story that the public deserves to see. Don't miss a single update. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when new evidence drops or when key developments happen. Every detail matters, and staying informed is the only way to follow the truth as it comes out. If you have insights, questions, or theories, drop them in the comments. The public discussion matters, and your perspective could help piece together the next part of this complex puzzle. Like the video to help more people understand what's happening, and share it so others can see the unfolding events for themselves. This isn't just another celebrity gossip story. It's a developing situation with real implications, and every revelation changes the narrative. Stay connected, stay vigilant, and be ready for what comes next, because the truth about Erika Kirk TPUSA and Charlie Kirk's legacy is still being uncovered, and the next update could shock the world.